And we had a $9.99 donation from Scala Kitty that says, one, ECC is amazing, and I'm so proud of how well y'all did for your first marathon. You are all good and nice and deserve all the love for creating such a good event and community. Two, that total needed more nines. It needs that critical hit level of nines. And we also have a $50 donation from Maddie Walker that simply says, here's $10 per reset, as promised. And with that, we are $150 out from our next stretch goal of SMZ3 co-op with Meg and Rubash.
All right, are we good to go?
And we are good to go. Welcome to HyperRogue.
All right, so this is HyperRogue. This is one of the weirdest games I've ever played, and I absolutely adore it. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on cheat mode, because this is the least marathon safe game I have ever run. And I'm going to fail, and it's a roguelike, which means that if I mess up, that's game over. So that's why I'm enabling cheats. And so that's, I think, all. So this is a roguelike in non-Euclidean geometry, specifically hyperbolic geometry. There's a lot of math behind this game, and it's actually used for like serious math research. Like, people are discovering things that have never been discovered before using this game. It's also a really fun game with a ton of content, and I've already made a mistake, but that's fine. We're going to be going through 9 different lands, trying to collect 10 treasures from each of them, and then we're going to go to Hell, and then we are going to get the Orb of Yendor. Now, the screen may look kind of curved and warped. We're actually on a negatively curved plane. And so we are moving along straight lines, or nearly straight lines. It's going to look like we're going in circles. It's going to look like we're doubling back on ourselves. Usually we're not. Usually we are going in very close to a straight line. There are no parallel lines in this game. Any 2 lines that you draw are either going to cross or they're going to spread away from each other. And that's why the screen's kind of distorted, is because this kind of geometry doesn't fit on a flat screen. And I am looking for an exit right now. I need to find a safe way out of this land. The ground is falling away from me. And here we're going to cheat for the first time. And this actually shows off that no parallel lines thing, because these dogs are going to try and run alongside me, but because they can't run along behind me, they have to run along a parallel line, but there are no parallel lines, so they have to run along a slightly longer curved path. And that's one of the 2 really big things about hyperbolic geometry that we're going to be seeing, and I will talk about the other one later. But this game takes a lot of concentration, and so GlitchCat is going to be helping me out here, sure. So you can take it from here.
Hi, I am here. I'm GlitchCat. Like Spriteguard said, looking for those 10 treasures from 9 different lands. There are other lands in the game, but these lands are specifically selected for ease and routing, although there's not a definite order. Right now, Spriteguard's in the Living Cave and needs to pick up 10, but these monsters in here actually create walls as Spriteguard is moving through, so that adds a little bit of randomness as well.
I just got the magic orb of digging, which lets me walk through walls or causes walls to disappear in front of me.
Oh, there's so much in this game. I didn't even know there was a magic orb of digging. That's
yeah,
awesome.
there are 60 lands. Each land has a magic orb, and we are going to see almost none of this because most of them are really slow and even harder than the ones that I'm playing.
Yeah, these lands have been specifically selected, like I said, for convenience, and you'll see that a little bit later in the way Spriteguard ends the game. There's a very specific reason for going to hell and then making the motions. So right now, it looks like Spriteguard is looking for the crossroads, or a crossroads, and that will kind of show up randomly. Spriteguard kind of wants to keep the crossroads in sight. That's that red bricked up area, because that's sort of a connective tissue between lands. That's sort of the thoroughfare. And right now, it would seem, I think Spriteguard has just kind of lost sight of it. This is the thing that can happen. And so Spriteguard is just kind of moving around and looking for an entrance to the crossroads so they can get out and on to the next worlds.
The way that I'm moving so fast is that I am actually... Oh, we lost our golem friend. I'm actually spinning the mouse wheel, and every time you tick the mouse wheel... it counts as a move. You can also move by clicking or using the keyboard. But the keyboard I don't recommend because every tile either has 6 or 7 sides. And the keyboard, most of the ways that you do it, it's either 4 or 8 sides, so it doesn't line up too well. But it's doable, and there are people who play that way.
Yeah, and those tiles having different sides is kind of the key to the way the paths work in this game, because like mathematically it will work out to have these divergent lines and stuff, right? Hey, all right, hey, we got the jungle. This is a really difficult area, but Spriteguard's got in. The treasures that Spriteguard needs to collect are at the center of these little growing vines, and so Spriteguard is kind of doing a technique called shredding, spinning the wheel and just kind of mashing, because the game wants to put you into a valid move, and that's going to help to kind of cut through some of these, what are they, branches, vines?
Ivies.
Vines to get into the center and get the treasures. Remember, we only need 10, and then we can be on our way out. I think still looking for the crossroads, though, throughout all of this, if I'm correct.
That would be ideal, but I'll take what I can get. I will also press Alt to darken the screen and highlight treasures, because the treasures are red, and the floor is green, and I am colorblind. And Xeno, the developer, has been very good about adapting this game for my colorblindness. Hey, it's a crossroads!
All right! Yeah,
normally, I actually... This game has a beautiful display... Beautiful display mode called Escher mode, where all of the tiles are shaped like Escher tessellations. And unfortunately, that kind of makes my computer chug. Specifically in Hell, the tiling in Hell is hell on my frame rate.
Wow. It's far out. So we're working through the Hall of Mirrors right now. And the green dots that you're seeing are like potential moves, and a lot of these, the other little shadows kind of mimic your behavior, can make it really difficult to get in and out of there. But we got the 10, and what you looking for now, Spriteguard? Living Fjord?
Heading out to the ocean. The Living Fjord we're going to save for the end, because if we get treasures from the Living Fjord, it will start to spawn water elementals, and water elementals destroy boats, and I'm about to get in a boat, so we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, that's right. You got to get the boat first, get across the ocean here, and the tide is actually like mathematically like procedural. There's like a lot of complex math involved with how the tide moves, but you're looking for that white pillar right now. There it is.
Yep.
Yep.
I am going to wait for the tide because I don't want it to chase me in, and I can't swim, so I need a boat, otherwise I will drown. So you don't actually... Oh dear, where did my boat go? I did not see what happened there, but anyway. You don't actually... Canonically, you do not die in this game. I'm going to say die a lot because it's a habit, but you do not die in this game. If you have no valid moves that won't get you killed, then you teleport back to the Euclidean universe with all of your treasures.
So So working through Relaya right now, and there's something in here that's going to be really helpful later. There are these tentacles. You see them up in the top of the screen right now with the little grabby arms. They are indestructible, and they are also infinite. And they will just keep chasing and extend just as far as they possibly can. And keep an eye on those because that will be a little bit helpful later to be distinct from the vines, which are the little spiky ones, the tentacle there in the top chasing Spriteguard down.
This is not good. Oh, this is really not good.
Oof, yeah, watching out for those fire guys who will
cultists.
Fire cultists, yes, exactly. Yes, those fire cultist guys who will light the ground on fire and force you to move a tile. That's that little red spinning area.
The route is incredibly complex, and we had like 3 days to go over this, so... Oh no. There are 3 scary things in this game, and one of them is after me.
Oh dear.
So this thing grows, every single branch grows on every turn, and the only way to escape it is that it can't go through heptagons. And going around heptagons is slightly slower than going through them. And so that's the only way to escape a couple of enemies in the game. And this area right here is where the other enemy like that is, and that is one of the other 3 scary things.
Yeah, you don't want to
Am I missing a treasure? 1, 2... Oh, I'm missing Living Fjord.
That Living Fjord.
The route in
where
this...
the water elementals will show up, and water elementals will destroy boats.
I've been running this game for years. I don't think I have a top 10 time anymore, but I did for a long time, and I still forget the route mid-run because the route is so complicated. And so random. It's like you just have to adapt the route on the fly because which lands actually appear is random. That's 10. Cool. We are on the lookout for hell.
So we're getting, so this is getting into a setup for endgame right now. You want to...
That's the third... Why are ghosts after?
Why are ghosts after us?
Like, that is not something that should be in the game. I do not know why that's happening. Normally, those only show up if you stand still for, like, 100 turns. It's basically a way to prevent soft locks.
So we made it to hell, and just grabbing some treasures. And this is a kind of an open area, which makes it a good choice to grab treasures in. The demons here have a particular thing, which I'm going to endeavor to remember. Red demons take 1 hit, and if you hit a white demon 5 times, all of the rest of them turn red. I think I was close. I was so close.
White demons are unkillable, and if you kill 10 red demons, then all of the white demons will turn into red ones.
Okay, but I would like to get a stamp on my Super Saver card for next time so I can get that discount. But it looks like we got 14 treasures here moving through, and now we're getting ready to start the process to end the game, right?
So I need 25 treasures from here, and the reason is that these magic orbs we've been picking up from time to time, they start spawning once you have 10 treasures from a particular land. So we have 20 demon daisies right now. Which I believe is a reference to the game Ancient Domains of Mystery. So if you have 10 treasures, orbs start spawning. And they will spawn in the land that they're from and in the crossroads. However, if you get 25 treasures from a land, then orbs for that land will spawn everywhere.
And so that's what you've just set up here. You've set up the orbs from hell to spawn everywhere.
Yes. So this right here, this is the rose garden. This is the third scary thing. There are roses in there that put out scent. And the smell of the roses in this game is so compelling that you will impale yourself on spikes, crush yourself against a wall, or jump into the jaws of a monster in order to get closer to that rose if you smell it.
Some big-time Odyssey energy. And I'm not talking about Mario.
This game is full of some really interesting pop culture references. A lot of video games, especially Deadly Rooms of Death, Ancient Domains of Mystery. There's a reference to Hoplite. There's also references. You saw we were in Relia, which is a reference to Lovecraft. And we went through the desert, which is actually a Dune reference where you collect spice. And I am having a really hard time finding an exit. There are 3 places in this run where RNG can really just end a run. And this is one of them. I'm just trying to get out of hell. And while being, easier than standard, it's still quite difficult to get out of hell and quite random whether or not we will actually see an exit that I can get to.
Yeah, so just kind of watching like on the edges of what looks like the sphere right now, kind of watching for the flash of the right area to kind of get yourself out.
It is actually the exact opposite of a sphere in like a very precise mathematical way.
I'm feeling 10th grade math all over again.
Oh, this is not 10th grade math. This is college math.
This game has actually, been, like you said, been used in a lot of mathematical research. Yep. I think it's super interesting. How many games can say that?
And that's why I was so anxious for y'all to get that incentive, because this game was actually the first game to visualize in any capacity all 8 of what are called Thurston geometries, and so I get to talk about those. All right, so this is the end game. So, this is an Orb of Yendor. We tap the Orb of Yendor. It's going to be on the left side of the tentacle. A key spawns 100 steps away. And we have to find our way back. The no parallel lines thing means that if I'm even slightly off from the path that I'm supposed... Oh no. The path that I'm supposed to be on, I will never find my way home. So this is something that happens. This is the third thing that can really sink a run, is if the Orb of Yendor is... the key spawns in the wrong place.
Yeah,
I have to give up and find another one. But rule 1 of HyperRogue is nothing is unique. Rule 2 of HyperRogue is that means that if you can't get something safely, run away. I'm going to be holding down Alt because it highlights the Orbs of Yendor. And so the reason I have this tentacle chasing me is so that once I find the key, I can find my way back to the Orb of Yendor that it unlocks. And the reason that I got 10 or 25 demon daisies is so that the Orb of Yendor will spawn in this big open area with no enemies. There are these colored rings. Those are hyperbug nests. If I step on one of those, 50 angry bugs will attack me, which is not as bad as it sounds, but they will also attack my tentacle. And my tentacle will be more interested in fighting them than in chasing me. And so then I will lose my tentacle.
I have that written down in my notes in big bold letters. Do not anger hyperbugs.
Is that left or right? I can't even tell. Left side. So there is a fake Orb of Yendor that's not the one that I want on the left side, but it is far away from... There are 2 fake Orbs of Yendor. Okay. I mean, they're real Orbs of Yendor, they're just not the ones I can unlock.
Real fake Orbs of Yendor.
Oh no! Oh, okay. No, 28 steps is too far. I will dip into another land if it's like 10 steps, but 28's too far. Okay, this one is on the right side and not touching. Come on, keep up.
If you were to lose that tentacle now, you'd have to go all the way back and get another one and have it follow you.
This is just about the worst Yendor luck I've ever had. I think that's like 3 or 4 that we haven't been able to get.
Still got that tentacle, though. HyperRogue's behaving, too. I'd say things are looking up.
Okay, right-hand side and touching. I think we're going to have some hyperbug problems on the way back. Did I lose it? No, okay.
Man, they look so scary just coming over the horizon at you.
No! Well, at least there's another one right here. Right-hand side touching.
Yeah, this is a really good indication of just like what Spriteguard's talking about, like the unsafety. I don't know if I can invent that word, but this is how just incredibly random this game can be.
Did I say left or right?
You said right-hand side touching.
Okay.
And I'm going to be a big-time fool if I screwed that up, but I'm sure I didn't.
I mean, that sounds right to me, so...
Well, I'm holding up my right hand and touching one finger, so hopefully that's a reminder.
What does chat say?
I believe. I think chat believes.
Time!
Nice job. Right-hand side touching. Very great.
Yeah, so this game is available on Android, iOS. It is free from the developer's website. You can also buy it on Steam to get leaderboards and achievements. And it's a really incredible game. And I get to show you how incredible it is because you all were incredible enough to meet the incentive. It is the Dragon Lord Carter, it is the opposite of spherical.
So what
Okay.
do you know, Spriteguard?
Okay, so I am going to start with, I guess we met the land showcase first, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to head to the overview, and I'm going to indulge my vanity a little bit, because we are going to head over to Camelot. Now, Camelot really shows off... Oh my goodness, I still have all of my orb powers. Camelot really shows off one of the really difficult things about hyperbolic geometry. And which is, this table is 28 cells across. And because of how hyperbolic geometry works, that means that there are over 3 million tiles inside of it. And these knights here will talk to us and tell us a little bit about it. There is a grail at the center. So the goal here is to find something that is at the center of an empty room that is 28 steps across. And it is incredibly hard. It is one of the hardest puzzles. Solving this puzzle reminded me of Myst. I had to talk to other people in the community. We had to trade notes. I had to draw diagrams. Finding something in the middle of an empty room in hyperbolic geometry is really hard. So these are the knights. They will talk to us. They will give us tips about the game. And they will give us little hints about some of the other quests.
Hey there. Sorry to interrupt. Hey. We have some important news to share, and I'm going to pass it over to Leggy because she has the notes.
So, we are rapidly approaching the end of the marathon, but we are still only $150 away from our SMZ3 donation incentive. You have only a little more time to get it in. So please, 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 every little bit counts.
So the knights give us some hints. About some of the other stuff you can do in the game, some other stuff to check out. And they tell you about how there's 2 million knights around the table and 3 million tiles inside of it. And then they start quoting some mathematicians. They say, there is no royal road to geometry. There is no branch of mathematics, however abstract, which may not someday be applied to phenomena of the real world. It is not possession, but the act of getting there which grants the greatest enjoyment. We live in a beautiful and orderly world, and not in a chaos without norms. Oh, was it 31 million? Thank you for correcting me. And then it says, thank you very much for talking, and have a great rest of your day, which is how I sign off every one of my streams. And I Let's Played this game for about 5 years, and it was really moving to have that tribute in there. So, this was made by Zeno, who is a Polish game developer. On the beach, we actually picked up amethyst, which I always thought was very strange, but apparently in Poland that happens. Amethyst just washes up on the beach. And only in Poland and part of Russia, I think. Okay, the next one I want to share with you is the Dragon Chasms.
Spooky.
And I'm still leaving a fire trail. That will wear off in 25 steps. Okay. So, the Dragon Chasms is my favorite land in the game because we have these giant dragons. And the way that we fight these dragons is we have to fight every single segment individually, and then we have to hit the head. And I'm lucky to have some of these. If you hit something while it's active, the dragon moves every other turn. If there's one segment next to you and it's active and you hit it, it won't be able to attack you. But otherwise, it will.
So it looks like we actually ended up on the front page. So if you're watching on the front page, why don't you come on in and join the chat? You can see our donate link if you're feeling generous, or just come chat with us while we finish up the marathon. We've got about 14 minutes and change, depending on what Spriteguard has in store for us here.
And I can move things faster or slower as you want me to.
I will let the stage manager determine that. But for now, come on in. We're only $151 for our next stretch goal. in which case Megmac Attack and Rubash 319 will be doing a Super Metroid Link to the Past co-op run. So come on in, hang out and chat.
Sorry.
Come on in, hang out and chat, and if you've got the money to spend or to spare, we'd love to send it on over to the Trevor Project and do some more gaming content for you in the future if we can hit that incentive.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this is Undefined Behaviour, a showcase and speedrunning marathon centered on queering games and queerness in games. For this marathon, we're exploring glitchy, unusual, and marathon unsafe runs, as well as adjacent and related queer gaming content. We queer games when we reject limits and rules, when we play in atypical ways, and when we read diversity into stories and themes. This is our very first marathon, and we're excited to share all of these games and showcases with you.
Alright, we fought down the second dragon. I really want to show you what happens when you get 10 treasures from here, so I will try to do that relatively quickly, but I may actually want to speed this along, which somewhere in the cheat menu.
So
I
is
can
this
summon
like DLC
treasure
for the game, or
sorry?
is this like DLC for the game, or an extra
Nope.
area that
This-
we didn't see?
This is just one of the areas that I skipped over because it's slow.
Yeah.
There is virtually no DLC for this game. The only thing is occasionally updates will go to Steam before they go to other versions, and achievements and leaderboards. Summon treasure. Okay, so we should have, 17 dragon scales now. So now we get the Orb of Domination. And the Orb of Domination lets us ride dragons. And we can tell the dragon where to go, and I'm going to tell it to go over to that other Orb of Domination so that I can get more charges.
That's pretty cool.
This is my favorite thing in the game. And we have to tell the dragon where to go, otherwise it will kind of just sit still and be ready to attack us if we were to jump off.
What? Thanks, friend.
And now I am going to go into the settings. I'm going to go into 3D configuration, and I'm going to turn on first person mode. And now we can ride a dragon in first person.
Seeing the first person mode really drives home how creepy it would be to actually be in a space like this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and it'll get weirder.
It really makes me think of like the Navidson house and stuff like that. Ah, who is that?
So that's a fire elemental. My dragon is not fighting it for some reason. There we go. I have to remember to keep commanding it so that it won't get lost. Oh, we've got another dragon. Now we can make our dragons fight.
Okay, but how many experience points to evolve one? Because I'm still looking for that shiny Charizard.
No evolution in this one. So I want to think about what other lands I want to share, because there are so many interesting ones. Oh, you lose some domination charges when your dragon gets hit. That's a good thing to keep in mind. Let's see. So we did go to the hive, but we didn't really look at why the hive is interesting, because we just kind of skipped over the nests. So here's a green nest. I'm going to step on the nest, and you can see some numbers show up at the top of the screen. And that middle number, the green one, is going to go up very quickly as these hyperbugs chase after me. And I have never seen the hyperbugs in first person before, and they are really creepy.
Yeah, that's incredibly concerning, really. I would be not brave in this scenario. Yeah, that.
One thing that you can notice...
Mind if I cut in again?
Sorry?
Sorry, mind if I cut in again?
Oh, go ahead.
We have some donations that are pushing us closer and closer to that SMZ3 co-op run. We're only $66 away from that, but Kubo T sent in $50 with Heart You All, let's get some SMZ3. Nicolette sent in $20 and did not give us a comment, but that generosity is incredibly appreciated. And Pixel Dollhouse gave us $20 and said, "What an incredible marathon. Thank you, ECC."
So I am looking for another nest here. Oh, here's a blue one. Okay. And I've never actually done this in first person. But we're going to anger the blue bugs. And the green bugs are going to be more interested in fighting the blue bugs than they are in fighting us.
Oh, that's a relief.
And so we can actually watch the bugs fight each other and just, make sure that they don't get too close to us. And once they fought each other, it will actually... This one... Oh, okay. Boy, they're getting close. Oh, okay, so apparently 14 of them survived that battle. And that might be more than I can fight off without losing sight. Basically, the way you get treasure is by having two nests fight each other, and then grabbing the treasure from the middle of the nest.
Oh yeah, seems easy.
Okay, that's all of them. Let's see if I can remember the route I took to get here. And it looks like not. So I only went like a few steps away, and I'm already lost. So that is something that that happens in this game. Another thing to notice is if I strafe a little bit, there is no parallax. And that's just a nature of how light rays behave in hyperbolic geometry. Stuff is really far away, there's no parallax. And that's also why it looks like I'm zooming in whenever I move instead of like I'm moving forwards. I saw Sir Light in the chat. Are there any lands that you think I should show off? I'm trying to think what else would be really interesting. The Eclectic City. That's an interesting one. I'm actually going to... Oh, this is beautiful in first person. So the Eclectic City combines mechanics from every other land. So I'm actually going to back out of 3D mode because I want to be able to show. So what do we have here? We have trees that we can cut down. We have guards that have multiple hit points, which is what the Red Rock Valley, that's a good idea. I'll do that one as well.
Red Rock Valley is a real place. It's in Nevada. It's outside Las Vegas.
That Red Rock Valley does not have rock snakes. At least I hope it doesn't. So this has electricity, which is another land. It has doors, which show up in the palace. It has exploding barrels, which actually only show up in the other Medley land that is a combination of mechanics. And it has stuff that you can climb up onto. Burial grounds in Yender Forest. Yeah. Good ideas. I'm actually going to do burial grounds first. So the burial grounds, all of the treasure is buried. And so we have to pick up this orb of the sword, and the sword always points in the same direction. And only some of these rocks can actually be cut, and there's a slight color difference between them. Now, our sword is not pointing in the right direction to cut through these rocks. But if I walk in a circle, the sword keeps pointing in the same direction. But because of the way hyperbolic geometry works, the world is kind of... The analogy would be if you're standing near the North Pole and you walk, 1 mile north, 1 mile east, or 1 mile north, 1 mile south, and 1 mile west, you can end up where you started, but facing 90 degrees the different direction. And the radius, or the equivalent of radius in this game, is much smaller than the size of the Earth. Draugr will try to avoid our swords, but that's the only way we can kill them, which means that this Draugr is on completely the wrong side of me.
So I have a question.
Yeah?
Are there 100% runs of this with so many worlds and treasures? Does anyone do that at all?
There are people who have completed this game to 100%. They do exist. I am not one of them. I am not aware of anybody speedrunning it. But it does track your time, and I do remember seeing that somebody... usually I see times between 2.5 and 6 hours.
Yikes.
But that's usually split up across multiple sessions, because 100% in this game is exhausting, and it's intense. And one mistake, and you're back to zero.
Mind if I cut back in again?
Go right ahead.
Because we have officially met the SMZ3 co-op run that Meg and Rubash are going to be putting on, thanks to 2 incredibly generous donations. One anonymous $60 donation. They left no comment, but they did the bulk of the work to get us there. And then a little donation from Garby the Glittress of $6.66 that just says SMZ3.
Nice. So this is the Lost Mountain. This is a gravity land. There's gravity. The rings of color that you see are basically contour lines for the gravity. And so we have to use bushes to climb up. The big bushes stay. The little bushes will break. We can jump between them. Apparently our sword will chop them, which is pretty annoying. Oh, and we have quite a lot of charges left on that. These eagles move 2 steps every turn, which is scary. And the treasure here, the orb here, is very special. It is probably my second favorite orb in the game after the Orb of Domination. And so I'm once again actually going to use the cheats menu to give myself some more treasure. so that we can take a look for the orb of this land. And I see one over there, but it's on the other side of this ivy. Oh, that's an orb of Yendor. That's not an orb of nature.
What is Yendor?
Yendor is a reference to the original rogue. It is the name Rodney backwards, and I believe Rodney was either one of the developers or a friend of one of the developers of the original rogue.
That's great. The ancient tradition persists. Yar's revenge on Atari is Ray's revenge backwards.
I would be really curious to know which of those came out first. Because they came out probably very close to the same time. I am not seeing an orb, so I might teleport to the crossroads and see if we can find one there.
So I just wanted to double check because I've been a little distracted with all of the excitement around hitting $9,000 in the new incentive. Is this still the Lands
Yes.
showcase?
Yes, do you want me to switch over?
Yeah, I'm super excited to see the next one.
Okay, let's do that then. This is... Okay. So this game's weird, right? It's about to get a lot weirder. This button right here, experiment with geometry. In 2 dimensions, there are 3 kinds of geometry. There's Euclidean geometry, which is what you do on a sheet of paper. There is spherical geometry, which is what you do on a globe. And there's hyperbolic geometry, which is what we've been doing here. In 3 dimensions, there are 8. So I am going to...
So you basically need a PhD to appreciate this game.
I have a bachelor's in comparative religion.
Hey, I'm a college dropout.
So, non-isotropic. Let's do solve geometry first. Okay, so this is killing my frame rate, and also we seem to be stuck inside of a wall.
It's a pretty wall.
I'm going to try a different land.
Ooh, what about Mario Land? Oh.
So I'm trying to melt through some walls here, but it seems like the rendering is not behaving. And so I am going to switch over to racing mode and see if that goes better. Racing mode, racing and Thurston geometries. So these are called Thurston geometries. A few years ago, this guy named Grigory Perlman famously won $1 million for solving a very famous problem, and he rejected the prize. And what he proved was that these 8 things exist, and this is the complete list of them. So this is racing mode, and this is solve geometry. And so we are going to fly through solve geometry. It looks like we're going through a kind of a barrel shape. This is actually flat, but light rays curve interestingly. And so basically the direction we're going into is special. And the farther we go into this direction, the farther left and right will go every time we turn. And so if we want to go really far to the right, what we do is we go really far inside of this barrel shape, which is actually infinite and not curved. It just looks curved. And once we get far enough into it, then we work our way out, and we end up thousands and thousands of tiles away from where we would be if we just tried to go in a straight line.
Is this still the game? Like, can you
Yes.
play the same game you just showed us like this?
Yes. It doesn't work super well, and I just collided with a wall, and I'm lost now. But yes. Yes, everything in this game is very modular. You can combine settings. So right now, I am in real-time, first-person, Thurston Geometry Racing mode. And every one of those things I said you can play on its own or combined with any other part of the game.
This game is just the essence of math itself, isn't it?
Kind of. It's very playful. It lets you play with math. You don't need to understand what's going on. I don't understand what's going on, beyond kind of a superficial level. Not the way, some of the people in the community actually use this game for their research. But yeah, I just fly around in Thurston geometries and go, wow, this is weird.
A worthy endeavor, TBH. This reminds me of a fractal zoom.
And you know what? That's actually a really common thing in a lot of the first-person views, because of the way that light rays bend. Stuff that's far away looks smaller than it should, or stuff that's nearby looks smaller than it should, and so it looks, if there's a really regular shape, it can look like this, fractal detail just because of kind of trickery of the light.
That's super interesting.
Sir Light nailed it. You do not understand some concepts, but you see them, you interact with them, and so you get a better understanding of the concept. Okay, so now we've gone far enough that we can start working our way in the other direction. And we were going into this seemingly curved shape. Now we're actually going out of it. But because we're facing the other direction, it's curved the other way. Because it's not really curved, it's flat. It's just a trick that the light is playing on us.
Could have fooled me.
And so much of this game is I know these facts and I take them on faith because I can't really imagine what's actually going on here. And that little X, that is keeping track of what's the shortest path to our destination. And you can see I'm not always able to take that shortest path because there's a lot of walls and I am completely turned around. I don't even know where the target is anymore. There it is.
How did you see that?
3D games are still 2D, it's just the way pixels curve around. So this is a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional space. And the three-dimensional space has solved geometry, which is... And so you're right that, we're looking at a two-dimensional screen, and that's why everything is distorted, is because we're trying to flatten this, big three-dimensional space into this two-dimensional screen. Where where am I going? This is like the most crowded I've ever seen this. I have lost the marker again. Is it this way? Or this way? I'm like having trouble finding my way into this. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the frame rate, this is an old computer that I'm running this on, and I'm trying to do some very difficult math. I'm making my computer do more than I really should, more than anyone should ever ask of a computer. Because it has to calculate metrics and geodesics and other words that I only marginally understand. And it looks like we're getting close to our destination because this X is kind of harder to pinpoint. And some things stay the same. It's the closer you get to something, the more your compass is going to move as you move around it. I think it's also trying to find a clear path for us. No, I have not been doing this for 53 minutes straight. I've been doing other things that are just as weird as this for 53 minutes straight.
Sorry to interrupt, but we just hit $10,000.
Wow!
Woo!
An anonymous $783 donation just came in. Thank you so much for your generosity. That's incredible. Oh my god.
That's splendid.
And with that, we're only $240 away from our secret final stretch goal.
What's
that
the secret?
Zoe is going to showcase for us if we can hit that last $240. Oh my god.
Well,
Secret?
I can stretch this out as long as it takes because we have only scratched the surface of what's in this game. One of the ways that I've described this game is somebody had an idea for a neat gimmick and they turned it into Skyrim. There's just so much stuff in this game. And Xeno keeps adding more stuff and it's just amazing. The most recent update, I think just came out like a month ago or so. They added 3 new lands, including the Eclectic City, which I showed you earlier. And bug fixes, seems like every week at least. Very often, very frequent bug fixes. Oops. I wonder if I can melt through this wall because I'm getting stuck again. Oh, there's the play. I'm curious what frame rate y'all are seeing, because I'm seeing 30 to 40, but I don't know if that's getting through to you.
I'm seeing a frame rate. There are frames. They have a rate.
More than 1 frame per second?
Yeah.
Usually?
Yeah, usually. It's going okay.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
So are all the other lands in the game contained in this somehow?
They can be. I have it set to
you were playing
only
the
be.
game, like, are you still like looking for treasures and battling enemies and stuff? Or...
Oh no, so this is racing mode. I'm just trying to reach the X. And I'm almost there. Because I think that racing mode is the easiest way to kind of see these geometries in action. But yeah, you can play most of the game like this. Some parts of the game are like based around hyperbolic geometry and only work in hyperbolic geometry, but a surprising amount of the game works in solved geometry.
It's really interesting.
Or nil, or PSL2R, or H2XE.
Oh yes, H2XE, yes.
Well, that one's easy. It's just hyperbolic geometry in 2 dimensions crossed with Euclidean geometry in the 3rd direction. Where did my X go?
Some of those words.
Geometry and direction?
Yeah.
Those are the only ones you need to know. I think you have to like sacrifice something to understand this game. Am I really blocked in here? I am completely blocked in here.
That's insane.
Well, that's racing mode.
Far out, man.
So I'm going to go back to the base game. Because there's one more mode that I really want to share with you. We're going to go back to Bitruncated, which is the default map. And I am going to show you, let's see, shoot 'em up mode is on. And then we just want 3D first person view. So one of the other challenges... Oh, I'm still in racing mode. Spatial modes. Racing mode. Disable racing mode. Okay. So one of the other challenges... I'm still going fast. Oh. Okay. The menus are pretty complicated. It's a complicated game, it has complicated menus. So one of the challenges I've been working on that I have not yet been able to accomplish is a zero knife run. This is shoot 'em up mode. It's exactly the same as the game that I did an any percent run of 5 years ago when we were still doing that. Except it's in real time and I can throw knives.
Sick.
And kind of the big, like, Everest challenge of shoot 'em up mode is a zero knife run where you don't throw a single knife the entire time. And it involves a lot of running away from stuff, which is, you know, classic HyperRogue. This game involves a lot of running away from stuff in every mode.
So what is the goal here again?
So now the goal is just any percent. It's just get 10 treasures in 9 different types, go to hell, get 10 demon daisies, get an orb of Yendor, get the key, return to it. But in real time and with knives. And I usually do... Oh! All right. Well, that is what I've wanted to show y'all. I need to get my donation in. Thank you so much for this. Thank you all for such great donations. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.